Look at this meal. Spaghetti squash with roasted chickpeas and vegetables. Loaded with nutrition, it's low calorie, it's just amazing. It's so delicious, you guys. I can't wait to start eating, and I can't wait to show you how to make this. Welcome back to eColor. Tonight we're making spaghetti squash with chickpeas and roasted vegetables. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to properly cut open the spaghetti squash, where the noodles are not like chopped in half. They're long and luxurious. And we're going to do this without injuring ourselves, and we're going to do it where the knife doesn't get stuck in the squash. I'm going to show you the secrets of how to properly roast a spaghetti squash, how to properly roast chickpeas and vegetables, where they're going to roast perfectly every single time. Let's get this spaghetti squash going. First thing you want to do is go ahead and preheat your oven on 400. Okay, so you want to go and get your squash and place it on a kitchen towel. This way it has stability, it won't roll as much. The next thing you need are two knives. You need a paring knife and a butcher knife. If you haven't sharpened them in a while, it'd be a good idea to go ahead and do that now. It matters where you make your incision, whether you make it widthwise or lengthwise. And keep in mind that the strands of the spaghetti noodle actually run widthwise. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut it widthwise and not lengthwise, because if we cut it lengthwise, we're going to be chopping like our spaghetti noodles in half. And okay, I know I just said spaghetti, but you guys, spaghetti squash, okay, it's not pasta, okay? But by cutting it the right way, the noodles are long, and we're going to think like we're eating pasta. But instead, we're eating an amazing vegetable, low in calories, and high in nutrient count. Using your paring knife, start in the center, in the middle. So what you want to do is we're going to press down and then horizontally lift up. And just move just a little smidget, press down and just lay your knife down horizontally. And this is just so simple. You just go in and press down, in, down. You could probably just do one more, in and down. Okay, now we're going to turn it around and we're going to continue onto this side. Again, so we just press in and slide down. Press in, slide down. It's important to get that knife completely up vertical like that, and then just lay it down horizontally. Now we get the butcher knife, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and pierce it right smack in the middle, and then we're just going to gently just fold it down horizontally like this. Okay, turn it around and stay on that line, and we're going to stick it in and we're going to fold it down this way. Okay, now instead of pulling the knife out, what we're going to do is we're going to lift this up and then we're going to slam. Okay, y'all ready? We're going to lift it up and slam. It opened up so easily. Using a spoon, you want to go ahead and now scrape out all these seeds. This is just exactly like cleaning a pumpkin. Now you can discard these. You can save them, clean them, and roast them, whatever you like to do. So we put some parchment paper on your flat roasting pan, and you've got your two halves here. You want to sprinkle olive oil on here like this, just a little bit on both sides, just enough where then you can just use your hand and you just want to rub that olive oil all around the inside of your spaghetti squash. And then we just want to add a little bit of salt. Just a little bit, not too much salt, because sometimes spaghetti squash gets funny if you add too much salt. And we want to do pepper. Whoops. So we want to do a little bit of pepper in here. Okay. And now we're just going to keep it on this pan here. I always like to turn them upside down so that they drain while they roast. We have all this extra room on our pan, so we're going to go ahead now and roast our chickpeas alongside our spaghetti squash. So let's get the chickpeas ready. I love adding chickpeas to my dishes. Okay, these are sometimes they're called garbanzo beans, chickpeas, they're the same thing. But they give you so much protein in your dish, is what we need tonight. We want to go ahead and drain these and rinse them real well, and we'll get these going. Lay our chickpeas out on a clean kitchen towel, spread them out, and we want to dry these chickpeas because dried chickpeas roast so much better than wet chickpeas. So you want to go ahead and let them dry, and just dabbing it like this with the towel is really all you need to do. Now see, now some of these, now look, these little skin, these little pieces here, go ahead and discard the little skins that kind of pop off from these chickpeas. And just going to spend a minute or two getting all the obvious ones. So I threw away these little skins, and now let's go ahead and pour our chickpeas into a bowl. Now we're going to drizzle some olive oil and some salt, and we're going to stir this up. So now we're going to go ahead and pour our chickpeas in. Now don't rinse or do anything with this bowl, because we're going to need this bowl now for other vegetables. Okay, spread your chickpeas out, and just like this. And now we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven for 30 minutes and let them roast. And while they're roasting, we're going to get our other vegetables ready. Now we're going to go ahead and get these ready to roast, and we're going to go ahead and put some fresh milled black pepper. We'll sprinkle some salt, and I've chopped up 3 garlic cloves and about a good tablespoon of fresh thyme leaves, and we want to put maybe like a half a teaspoon of oregano and olive oil. And we will go ahead and mix this. I always like to go through the extra trouble of using a bowl to like mix so that all the olive oil and the seasonings will evenly distribute. So that's the secret of roasting vegetables, is cutting the pieces in relatively same size pieces and choosing vegetables that take the same amount of time to cook. And we'll see, once we put them on our pan, we're going to give all these guys some space. And the last thing is that you want to just go ahead, like I say, totally distribute all your seasoning and your olive oil. And you want to roast your vegetables on 425 because you want your vegetables to stay moist on the inside and caramelized on the outside. So you can do that with a high temperature of 425. These have been roasting for 30 minutes. I can tell it's perfect. Okay, so now your spaghetti squash is going to be a little bit too hot to handle. So let's just let it rest here for about 2 or 3 minutes. And now all these wonderful chickpeas right here, you can see they're roasted, they're going to be crispy. Okay, now like I said, if you've never had roasted chickpeas, you're going to be in for a big surprise. Our oven was on 400, and now we're going to pump up the temperature to 425. So these roasted chickpeas, if I were you, okay, we're going to put them in the bowl here because we're going to put them back into our pan towards the end of this dish. But in the meantime, you probably need to take this bowl of chickpeas and put them someplace else in the house or someplace far away from you, because you're going to want to start smacking on them. They are amazing. Oh, look how beautifully this spaghetti squash cooked. See how it was a little bit brown on the edges? It's just the way you want it. So now you just take your fork and you just gently scrape from the edges inwards, and all this tender noodles here are just gonna just flake right out. And I kind of just rotate it around, and I'll keep doing this until I get all the strands out. Let's just go ahead and slide your spaghetti squash into some sort of a strainer where you want to let it sit while the rest of the vegetables are roasting, because sometimes the spaghetti squash has moisture in it while it was roasting. And so now we want to go ahead and get all that moisture out. And it can just sit here until we're ready to deal with it later. So I picked up the parchment paper, and now I'm pouring in our vegetables, our Brussels sprouts, our red onion, and our carrots. And we're gonna go ahead and spread this out on the roasting pan. Try to give them as much space as we can. And we're gonna put these in the roaster here for 20 minutes. And while these are cooking, we're gonna get our kale ready. So I have some beautiful kale leaves here that are already, somewhat chopped up. They've been washed. And now I'm just gonna go ahead now and get them smaller. Maybe like 1-inch pieces. So I might have gotten a little carried away with how much kale I have, but I love my greens. So let's go ahead and put them in the bowl. Now we're getting our final dressing ready, and I've added now a 1/4 cup pine nuts. And we've got some hot pepper flakes. So, not everybody in the family likes it spicy, but it just needs to have a little bit. So I put maybe like a 1/2 teaspoon. And now we'll get ready, and we're gonna do the juice of a whole lemon. Oh, wow, look at this. Our vegetables are tender and caramelized. I'm just gonna go ahead and just kind of stir them up just once here, and kind of re-flatten them out, because what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add in the kale. Just go ahead and drop it in on top. We're gonna go ahead and plop in our chickpeas. And our spaghetti squash. And we're just gonna give this a little whirl here, and we're gonna put this back in the oven for just 5 minutes for our kale to wilt and our chickpeas and our spaghetti squash to get re-warmed up. Let's put it back in. This out of the oven, and you can see how the kale is nice and wilted. Everything is roasted, and we're ready to put this into a bowl and serve. My dinner. I tell you, I can never have dinner without sprinkling like fresh parsley or something on top. I know it's gonna be delicious. How great to be eating so healthy and so well. I know this can be so satisfying. Oh, the crunchy Chickpeas and the pine nuts and these vegetables. Oh, y'all, great dish. I want you to go ahead, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, leave me a comment, let me know if you make the dish. Until next time, bon appetit.